Man, week 10 might have to be the craziest week of this season, man. You had the crazy debacle that happened between the Vikings and the Bills, the epic comeback by Aaron Rodgers against the Dallas Cowboys, and now you got this game here on Monday Night Football between the Commanders and the Eagles. I don't know how the Commanders pulled this off. This is one of the craziest games I've seen in quite some time. This is probably one of the more controversial games because the refs really played a factor into this. At the same time, the Eagles did hurt themselves with turnovers. So, I mean, I just, my mind is gone right now. After just coming through the live stream and just seeing how that game went down, I really don't know what to say here. I guess I should say this. Congratulations to the Washington Commanders for finding a way to win. I've said this time and time again. Heineke is not a great quarterback. One can make the argument he's not a good quarterback, but he's all Washington has. And the Commanders, they find a way to rally. They don't do this with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is more talented. Carson Wentz has the better arm. He's got more skills, whatever. With Heineke, he's got those intangibles. He just finds ways to win games for this team, and they rally behind this guy. They rally behind him. I don't know what else to tell you. Heineke wasn't spectacular in this game, but he made some plays when he needed to. 17 to 29, 211 passing yards. He had an interception in the fourth quarter. He wasn't perfect in this game. He wasn't great. He wasn't spectacular, but he made plays and did what he needed to do to win this game. Washington actually pretty much controlled damn near everything. They ran like 76 plays or something. They ran the ball 49 times. So they ran the ball 49 times. They dominated in time of possession. They were damn near perfect on third down. They kept converting third downs. They kept going on these long drives and finishing with points on the board. They really wore down the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. So the game starts off. Washington has the ball their first drive. They don't do nothing with it. They end up punting the ball. But wait, a penalty happens on the Eagles. Washington just comes back on the they get to come back on the field and continue. But wait, as that happens, the Eagles defense gets to Heineke. They cause a strip sack. They recover the fumble, and the Eagles get to start in prime position. Prime field position to start this game. And of course, this being the Philadelphia Eagles, they capped that off with a touchdown from Jalen Hurts, running it in. You know how that is. So when I saw that, I'm thinking early on, here we go. Eagles are probably going to look to dominate. But bro, after that, the game became something I was not expecting. From that fumble, from that moment, Washington would proceed to have 5 drives where they score points. Touchdown, touchdown, field goal, field goal, field goal. 5 straight drives. 5. They found a way to get it done. They went into halftime up 20-14. They were making kicks I couldn't even believe they were making. A 58-yard field goal, a 55-yard field goal. What was going on with the kicking situation? It was on point tonight. This was amazing. Like, they were just finding ways to keep drives alive. They were converting on third down. They were moving the chains. They were killing the clock. They were dominating on time of possession. And they were finishing drives with points. They were hitting field goals we ain't never seen them usually hit. A 58-yarder, I'm not used to seeing them hit a 58-yarder. Craziness. Craziness. This game was straight up wild. But of course, there were turnovers. And, turnovers did ultimately affect the game. So Washington, they had that lead for the most part. They go into the second half with that lead. They're holding on to it. They're extending their lead. And then, of course, at the worst possible moment, it ends up becoming a 2-point game. Worst possible moment, Heineke throws a pick. He sees McLaurin get open. He beat his man. He beat the corner. He got open. Heineke threw a bad pass there because, yeah, McLaurin is open, but he threw it inside. That gave the safety enough time to come across the middle, pinpoint where the ball is, and pick it off. If he throws that ball outside instead of inside, at that point, you give McLaurin the only chance to get that. Either he's going to make that catch or it's incomplete. But he threw that pick, and that's where the momentum switched. But this was a game that would get even crazier. As for the Eagles in the first half, after they scored that touchdown, they would get another touchdown. But honestly, they struggled, man. They straight up struggled. Because they would have the next two possessions, it would be an interception. Not even the next two, the next three possessions would be like an interception by Hurts, who, by the way, it was a great play by the defender to locate that pass. That was a hell of a catch by the defender to get the pick there. So an interception happens, and then they go on the field, and it's just like 2, 3 and outs. They just can't seem to get it together because they weren't on the field that long, especially in the first half. I think they were on the field for like 7 minutes the entire first half. It was crazy. Washington was dominating in time of possession, and the Eagles did not have a lot of rhythm on offense because they weren't getting a lot of opportunities, and it was unfortunate in that case. But it was a 20-14 game heading into halftime, and at some point, you were just thinking, man, Washington has a chance to just put this game on ice because the Eagles come out of halftime with the ball, they go 3 and out. Washington gets the ball. They continue to move down the field, kill the clock. They're up 20-14. They have a chance to get a touchdown and make this 27-14 and probably put this game in a situation where the Eagles are in trouble. But they end up sacking Heineke on 3rd down. They have to settle for a field goal. They make it 23-14. And the Eagles, in a must-win situation, in a drive where they had to respond, they responded, went down the field, scored a touchdown, and made this a 23-21 game. From that point forward, chaos ensued. Like I said, Heineke threw the pick. I'm thinking, here we go. Heineke threw the pick at the worst possible moment. We're in trouble. What ends up happening? On a controversial decision, on a situation they didn't even see or didn't even call, the Commanders end up getting a fumble. Hurts throws the ball to Goddard. Goddard starts taking off. He ends up getting his face mask pulled. You can clearly see his face mask getting pulled. And as it's getting pulled, another defender comes from his left side, knocks the ball out. It's recovered by Washington. They get the turnover right there. So that's the second turnover for the Eagles. That shouldn't have been a turnover. That was a clear face mask. The officials were terrible all day. So they end up getting that type of situation happening. And nothing really happens there for Washington for the most part. It gets crazier and gets crazier. Eventually they do kick a field goal and they make it 26-21. And now it's like, okay. So it's 26-21. You didn't get the touchdown. You got the field goal now. It's 26-21. Eagles are going to have another chance to win this game, right? Here's where another issue comes up, too. They get the ball in a situation where the clock is starting to wind down. We're in the fourth quarter. Clock's starting to wind down. Eagles have to score to take the lead and win this game. Jalen Hurts takes a snap. Looks down the field. You have Watkins wide open down the field. He got behind the Commanders' defense. He got behind them. Caught the ball. Beautiful throw. Great catch. He caught the ball and went untouched. So he caught the ball untouched and he got back up. But here's what happened. He didn't protect the football. So he caught the ball, was untouched, got back up, started running, and the ball gets punched out. It gets recovered by the Commanders, and in a situation where it looked like Philadelphia was about to take the lead and get this game on their side and completely flip the momentum back to them and put the pressure on the Commanders to go down the field and score, it goes from a situation that could be like that to now the Commanders have the ball, you've turned it over in a crucial moment with the game winding down. So here we go. Now you got a situation where we've already had several terrible calls by the officials, several controversial calls by the officials. Philly feels like they're getting flat out cheated because they're missing these calls. And now you have a situation here. Washington has the ball. Eagles, obviously, they have all 3 timeouts. Washington actually gets the ball in this situation. And Eagles still have 3 timeouts, but Washington's looking to kill the clock here. They get a 3rd down situation, and they end up finding a wide open Curtis Samuel. Picks up the 1st down, moving the chains. But wait! Penalty! Pass interference! They said Dotson had he threw a pick out there. They said he had a pick. They called offensive pass interference on Dotson, and they said he set up a pick to get Curtis Samuel open. That was not offensive pass interference. That was yet another awful call. It felt like they called that to try to make up for the terrible miss on the face mask call. The refs were just awful all game. So instead of Washington getting the first down, now they got to punt the football. It's still a 5-point game. Eagles get the ball back, but here's what happens. You get the ball back, and what happens? You go 3 and out. On third down, Jalen Hurts, pocket collapse, he starts to take off, and he gets sacked by Sweat. Puts him in the dirt. Now they got to kick the ball away. You got to punt it. You're down by 5. You got to punt it. And you got to punt it with under 2 now to go. So Washington gets the ball. We're under 2 minutes here. Philly has all 3 timeouts. They're looking to get the ball. First down. It's a toss. They pick up 1. First timeout used by the Eagles. Second down. They hand the ball off. It's a run again. 2-yard pickup here. Second timeout used. Third down. I was sitting there saying on third down, you want to pick up the first down here because if you pick up the first down, the game is over. So you're going to want to throw the football, see if you can get it in the hands of Terry McLaurin, something like that. It seems like Ron Rivera was thinking that exact same thing because on third down, they came out here trying to throw the ball. But the play immediately got messed up. So what does Heineke do? He just takes a knee. He gives himself up and takes a knee. But then one of the Eagles defenders, he already took the knee, he gave himself up, and one of the Eagles defenders comes and boom, hits him while he's on the floor. Penalty. Right there. Flag gets thrown up, and everybody's losing their minds. All the Eagles fans are losing their minds. The Eagles players are pissed, the fans are pissed, and Heineke's celebrating because he knows they just won this football game. So, personal foul gets called, and it's an automatic first down. Everyone's going to probably talk about this tomorrow because that play right there was such a weak call. He barely touched him. But here's the problem. It's a weak call, but it's the correct call. The quarterback willingly gave himself up. He gave himself up. After that, the play is dead. Any other contact after that will be considered unnecessary roughness. And that's exactly what happened. It's such a weak call because it's not like he came across and just decked him. No. He ended up running into him and hitting him. It wasn't even a bad hit. But they called that because that's the rule. So it's unfortunate, but that was the correct call. And I hate that that was the call to end the game. It's such a weak way to end the game. And it makes you feel like the refs pretty much determined who was going to win this football game. That's what Eagle fans are taking away from this. The refs gave this game to the Commanders. And I hate that has to be the takeaway from this. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So Washington gets the win in such a controversial game. The Eagles suffer their first loss of the season, so the undefeated season has come to an end. It ends here. They were 8-0, now they've lost. And it's funny because Washington was the same team back in 2020. They were responsible for ending the undefeated season of the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers were 11-0. Washington comes in. Matter of fact, was that on primetime? I believe that might have been on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. I think that was a primetime game. I think that was a primetime game when they beat the Steelers. That might have actually been a primetime game. So they do it again. I believe it was. I believe it was. I want to actually check this because I want to know if it was. Because I absolutely believe it was. Let me see here. This is This looks like it definitely was a primetime game.
What,
yeah, I think it was a Monday Night Football game. It was Monday night or Thursday night. Either way, it was a primetime game where they ended the winning, the 11-0 perfect streak for the Steelers. So they do it again. They do it again, which is crazy. So credit to the Commanders for coming out here and finding a way to win this game, pretty much saving your season because you go 4-6, you ain't got a shot, especially with the way the NFC's been competitive. But you're 5-5, you're finally back to 500. You have a chance to make the playoffs. You have an opportunity here. Let's see what the Commanders can do. As for the Eagles, you're 8-1. You're still doing your thing. You're probably tied with the Vikings you're tied with the Vikings with records, but I still think you guys have the number 1 seed because the Vikings are also 8-1. But yeah, the undefeated season comes to an end. You guys have finally been beat. You guys are obviously going to look to hold the refs responsible and blame them for the loss, which I totally understand. But what you really got to look at is the fact that the defense could not get the Commanders off the field, and you had those 2 turnovers. Especially the Watkins one. If he doesn't fumble that ball, there's a great chance that the Eagles win this game because they'll take the lead and they'll put the pressure, and now Washington's going to have to go down the field to win the game. If Watkins does not fumble the ball, there's a great chance they win that game. Jalen Hurts played a good game. He had 3 total touchdowns, 17 to 26, 175 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, a pick. He also had a rushing touchdown. I think he played a really good game. It wasn't his fault that fumble happened. It wasn't. He was playing well. Unfortunately, due to the turnovers, it is what it is. And yeah, he threw that pick, but past that, he played well. It's unfortunate what happened. Also, A.J. Brown got locked up here, but he was also injured. He hurt himself early in this game, and it just seemed like he never got comfortable after injuring himself early in the game. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I got to say here. Once again, congratulations to the Commanders for finding a way to win. In Heinicke, we trust. In Heinicke, we trust. Whether you think he's a great quarterback, he's not. By the way, he's not. He's not a great quarterback. You can make an argument he's not a good quarterback. Whatever you think of Heinicke, all you really need to know in this situation is that he's finding ways to win games, and he's keeping this team alive, and the team is rallying behind him. If Carson Wentz was the quarterback that was playing tonight, I don't think he won this football game. I'm just being honest. So I think whenever Carson Wentz gets healthy, Ron Rivera is going to have to make a decision. Do you want to throw Carson Wentz back out there because you invested that money in him? Do you put him out there? Or do you ride this train that has been progressing with Heinicke this season? I mean, because the team was already rallying behind him last year, but they ended up not doing anything. This year, they're still rallying behind him. They love this guy. And they're winning football games now. And one can make the argument in the games they've won, that doesn't happen with Carson Wentz. So it's such an interesting debate here. It's such an interesting situation that I just don't know what Ron Rivera is going to do when Carson Wentz gets healthy enough to be able to come back and play. They'll figure it out. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Once again, congrats to the Commanders. As for the Eagles, it's one loss. Learn from it. Learn from the mistakes you made in this game. Use it as a way to improve and come back better next week. It is what it is. We all suffer losses in this league. It is what it is. Anyway, with that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!